Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video, we shall build a car race type game called Highway Dash. Now, this is an interesting game that we have kind of put together looking at several Scratch projects. This game is interesting because we can learn a lot of cool Scratch things, cool Scratch features from this game, right? So, for example, one of the things that we will do, and that will be the focus of this video, will be a scrolling backdrop, right? So, backdrop that actually moves as the game goes on. We will also look at the concept of layers, and that will be the focus on part two of this video, right? So, this will be done in two parts. This is a part one, there'll also be a part two, right? Now, while this is a great game to learn Scratch features, I must add a little bit of a caution that this game is really not to be tried in the real life. And what I mean by that is that we have a car which is driving quite rash, right? So that's kind of like gives us the kick in this game. But remember that this is just a game for learning Scratch, right? So please do not ever, right, whenever you do drive, do not ever try something like this on the road, right? So just a word of caution. But with that, let's kind of get started with what this game is all about. So here, like I said, we have a car, right, which is moving, with an up arrow. And notice that when the car moves, it looks like the car is moving forward, but really the car is stationary at the bottom end of the screen. What's going on is that the backdrop is moving backwards, right? That's what I meant by scrolling backdrop. Oops, so I hit this car, right? So I hit this other car. Now the scrolling backdrop creates an effect as though the car is moving, right? So this is what I meant by scrolling backdrop. And additional to this, our car has to dodge all these other cars, right, which are on the highway. So it's like it's trying to overtake these cars. And we have this concept of night and day in this, and we have done this using layers, right? So what happens really is that, oops, I could get through that, right? So what happens really is that there's a layer of headlight, there's a layer of darkness sort of that falls on the car, and that is how we are emulating a headlight, right? So there's a day, and then after some time, oops, yes, right? So if I do this again, let me be a little bit careful. So notice this backdrop starts scrolling. Right now, the car overtakes all these other cars, and so we are moving ahead. But now the night is falling, which means our visibility is going down. Only something in front of our headlight is visible to us, so we have to be a little bit careful. But then slowly the day starts appearing, right? So and we can see more and more cars, right? So that's how the game goes. And it's like I said, it's a fun game, right? Do not try to drive like this in the real life. Hence, it could be, else it could be quite disastrous, right? But from a Scratch point of view, this is a pretty cool game to build because one, we can learn scrolling backdrops, which is universally applicable, and two, we can learn about this concept of layers apart from all the other programming logic that we are going to put inside this, right? So let's get started, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is to talk about the scrolling backdrop. And in fact, for this video, that will be the main focus. We'll talk about it in some detail, why it works, how it works, and how to make it work better, right? It's actually quite an interesting topic in itself. There's a lot of mathematics that one can do to around it, but we will do a simple one. This being the first time we are doing it, we'll see how we can make it happen, right? Now, the first thing I want you to realize, right, is that if I look at any backdrop, let's say I choose a backdrop and I go and choose, for example, let's say I choose, say, boardwalk, right? Now, this backdrop, notice the moment I go into backdrop and I go to code, right, then all the motion blocks are disabled, right? So which means that I cannot basically make this backdrop move just like that, right? So the question is, how do I do that? And in fact, that brings us to the very first trick on how do we make this backdrop move. And that trick is simply that we are going to use the backdrop as a sprite, right? Now, so let me repeat this. So we are not going to really use a backdrop here. We are basically going to use another sprite which will play the role of a backdrop, right? So how do I do that, right? So it's kind of, it's not that hard, but one has to really imagine a little bit here, right? So for example, let's say this, I wanted to scroll this, boardwalk. So what I could do is that I could go and select this board. I can go to the backdrops. I can, say convert to vector and select this image, right? Now I can just copy it and I can create a new sprite. Let's say I say paint a sprite and I will say paste this thing, right? So now what has happened is that I have got a sprite whose costume is exactly same as this backdrop, right? So notice if I go and even remove this backdrop, it's this thing which is here, which is now actually a sprite. And as you know, a sprite can move, right? So for example, I can place this at 0, 0, and then it kind of covers the entire the entire stage, right? So that's the key idea, that we are going to use not a backdrop as like we typically understand, but a sprite which will play the role of a backdrop, right? So we are using a backdrop as a sprite and a sprite as a backdrop, something like that, right? But the whole point is that for creating the scrolling backdrop, the first thing we must do is to have a sprite that is being used as a backdrop, right? Now, the question is, what kind of sprite is suitable for scrolling, right? Now, let's say we look at this particular thing in front of us, which is the boardwalk. Now, you can imagine that this will look quite nice if I'm making it move horizontally, because it will look like a continuous path. We are moving, let's say, next to an ocean or next to a beach, and we are moving on, let's say this path, right? So this is good for scrolling horizontally. However, if I were to scroll this vertically, right, which means going up and down, it will look extremely odd, because I mean, the sky will go underneath the road, and so on and so forth. So it'll look very, very odd, right? So that's not suitable. So this particular backdrop is good for scrolling horizontally, but not that great for scrolling vertically. Let's look at some other backdrops, right? So I can go and say choose a backdrop. Let's say I look at something like a stars. Right now, let's say the stars, we have used this before, right? So if I go to stars, this backdrop, let's say once again, I converted this to a sprite, right? How did I do that? If I were to do it, I can convert to vector, and I can select this, copy. Then I say I create a new sprite, say paint a sprite, and I'll go and paste this particular, costume, this particular backdrop now, which becomes a costume. And if I were to say, let's say maybe I'll hide this particular sprite, and I'll move this to say 0, 0, right? So what happens is that now I have got a sprite which is I've got a sprite which is going to act like a backdrop. But the point I wanted to make is that this particular sprite can really be scrolled in both directions, right? Because it's really like like a sky filled with stars, right? So really this can be scrolled horizontally as well as vertically, right? So the point that is important is to understand, number one, that we are going to use a sprite as a backdrop, and also that sprite should be in a way that it makes sense to scroll it, right? So that's the whole point, right? So be careful about it. There are many sprites out there, which are suitable for scrolling one way or the other. And when I mean by that, what you can do is to look at the backdrops, right? So for example, let's say something like blue sky, you can scroll it both ways, right? So something like circles, you can scroll it both ways. But something like, say, chalkboard, it will be very odd to scroll it vertically, right? So you can scroll it horizontally, or colorfully horizontally, right? If you were to do this, horizontal scroll will look fantastic with this, right? But there are certain other sprites, basically certain other backgrounds, which can be scrolled both ways, right? Like for example, hayfield, great for horizontal scrolling, right? Desert, great for horizontal scrolling, right? But maybe in a neon tunnel could be scrolled both ways, right? Or let's say even these rays could be scrolled both ways. So it depends on what you want, but choose a suitable background which makes sense for the game, right? So what we will do for our game is that we will not use any of these sprites. Instead, we will choose to paint a sprite, right? So first thing, I'll remove this backdrop, right? I'll remove all of this, because we don't really need this. We are going to create a highway sprite, right? Now really what I did was to paint this sprite uh, before I move forward, right? So I'm not going to paint this entire thing in front of you. It's just simple, because all you have to do is to go and maybe, for example, make a rectangle, fill it up with some color, make some circles, right? Make some lines, and so on and so forth. And this is not the only thing that you can do. There's other things also that can be created here, right? So just to be sure of this, right? Now the thing that I want to make sure is that if I were to show this highway sprite, right? If I were to show this highway sprite and set this at 0, 0, right? I want to make sure that this particular sprite is completely covering the stage, right? So it's large enough basically to completely cover the stage, right? And one way you can make sure of that is that you can make the sprite exactly equal to, let's say, this much, right? So now let's say I'll do this again. So maybe I'll start with this, right? If I were to do, let's say like this, right? You have to be a little bit patient here and do this, right? What you will find is that this sprite will I mean, this costume will completely cover the, the stage. But notice there's a small little thing happening here. So I will going to extend this a little bit here, and also extend this a little bit here, right? So if I did this, then I'll have a situation where, my sprite is going to completely cover the stage. My costume is going to completely cover the stage. Uh, but I must make sure that the costume is at 0, 0, right? So this is like simple check that I'm putting. Now, what you remember, what you notice is that in the actual game, I will actually make this a little bit bigger than this, and we'll talk about why that I did that, right? So a little bit bigger is good, right? So I know it's going to cover a little bit more, but I will just do this, right? And the reason we do this is because, we do not want, we do not, we rather avoid some kind of glitching when this thing scrolls, right? So we'll talk about glitching in a while. It's actually quite involved and quite interesting, but a simple remedy seems to be to just extend this sprite a little bit, right? You can never be 100% away from glitching. There will be moments when you can glitch. Like I said, there's a nice mathematical, let's say, development one can do around it. But for this point, for this level right now, I think it's sufficient to say that keep the speed of scrolling not very high, and also just extend this a little bit in the direction you want to scroll, right? So in our case, we want this to scroll vertically. So I have made it, just extend this a little bit on the vertical side, right? So now with this, let's get started, right? So now we have got a sprite. Remember, we are calling it highway, right? Because that's what it is in our game. And this sprite is going to play the role of a backdrop, right? So like I said, backdrops can't scroll. It's a sprite that has to play that role. So this sprite here with the costume of highway is going to play the role of a backdrop. And in fact, it's going to do the scrolling for us, right? So how do I really make that happen is what we are going to see next, right? So basically the idea is very, very simple. When you look at it, it's like one of those that you wonder, why didn't you think of it yourself earlier, let's say, right? So what I'll do is that I'll look at a small, a graphic for you to tell you the idea behind this scrolling backdrop, right? So what we are doing, really, remember, we have put a sprite which is covering the entire stage, right? So just imagine that I have got two costumes, basically, let's say two identical costumes of a sprite, right? Which are covering, let's say one of them is covering the entire stage. So this dark blue line is, let's say, the entire stage. So which is covering that. And another one, unknown to our eyes, right? Like sort of hidden from our eyes, is sitting on top somewhere here, right? Like this guy here, right? Now, so if I, let's say, move both of these together without creating any gap here, okay? So both of them, if they come down at the same speed exactly, without any gap getting created, then it will look like the background is moving, right? And also if the scenery is such that there is a kind of continuity here, like in our highway, right? There's some kind of continuity in the scene, so it will really look like the backdrop is scrolling, right? And that's what I meant by choosing a suitable backdrop, right? So now if I keep drawing this, if I keep bringing my one down, I'll reach a point when, let's say, it's like this. After some time, the second costume will be sitting perfectly where one was some time ago, and this guy will be, this guy will be, let's say, down in the, say, hypothetically, in some kind of basement which is beyond your vision, right? So now what we can do is that once it reaches this point, all I have to do is to somehow send this guy back up here, and then have this entire process repeat over and over again. So one will take the role of two earlier, two will take the role of one, and this thing, so when they start falling down, one will be here, two will be down, and now this process will repeat forever and ever again, and it will look like this thing is really scrolling in front of you, right? So the idea is actually very, very simple, but as they say, the devil is in the detail. When you start doing it, you'll realize that there are certain nuances that we have to be careful about, right? I'll talk about a few of them, mainly being the glitching, right? But let's see how we can now implement this idea in Scratch, right? So the question is, okay, the idea is fine. So we have got these two pictures, let's say, which are, one is visible, one is partly visible. They both move down. After some time, the lower one goes up and sits on top, and the whole process continues, right? So how can we make this happen in Scratch, right? So the answer really is, we are going to use cloning, right? So we are going to use cloning to basically create two identical costumes, two identical sprites. Remember, clone is basically creating a working copy of a sprite. So we will create two copies of a single sprite. The basically in this case the highway sprite, for example, the back whatever we want to scroll, we are going to create a backdrop, which we are going to create two clones of that sprite, and they will take the role of this 1 and 2. And they will be moving continuously. Once they reach the bottom, they will go back up on top, right? So that's the whole idea. Now let's see how we can do this in reality, right? So I'll go here. Remember, I've created this sprite whose costume is this scrolling back. It's going to become the scrolling backdrop, right? So let's just first make a few observations, right? So uh, how large is this? So remember, in the illustration, I've said that I'm going to place this in a way that one of these is covering the entire screen, the other one is sitting on top, right? So the question is, how do I do that, right? And before I start writing any code, I want to show you a backdrop which is very interesting in this case, which is this XY grid, right? So if you look at this XY grid, we will remove this in a moment, but just for now, if you look at the XY grid, you notice that our screen is really going from in the vertical direction. It's going from plus 180 to minus 180. In the horizontal is of course plus 240 to minus 240. So if you're doing a horizontal scroll, you have to worry about the horizontal. But here I'm just looking at the vertical. So it's going from plus 3 plus 180 to minus 180, right? So which means that approximately speaking, if my costume is completely taking up this entire space, it's really about 360 pixels, right? So 300, because 180 in the positive direction, one in the negative direction. And remember that I have put this guy right at 0, 0, right? So what this means is that if I were to put this at 0, 0, it's going to cover the entire screen. If I were to put it at something like, say, 350 or 340, then it's basically kind of sitting up here and we cannot see it, right? So let's see this in action. So I'm going to remove this backdrop. I don't need this for this project, right? I will remove this backdrop. All I wanted to show you is that it's plus minus 180. Now let's just do a little bit of experimentation before we get into cloning and all of that, right? So let's say I say that, look, when the flag is clicked, right? So when the flag is clicked, and I'm on the highway backdrop right now. So I say when the flag is clicked, say go to 0, 0. Let's see what that does, right? So I'll say, okay, I need to be selected. I should have selected the, not the backdrop, but the highway, but the sprite. So I'll say when flag is clicked, right? Say go to 0, 0, right? So if I did this, right, let's see what happens, right? So this is not surprising. Basically, it just does whatever we have already seen, right? So the sprite is sitting on 0, 0 and everything looks fine, right? But now let's say I make it go to 0, 3, 4, 0, right? If I did that, then what happens is that my sprite has gone somewhere up, right? Remember, because this was 180. So what has now happened is that the center of this sprite has gone to 340, and because this sprite, remember, this costume is a little bit bigger than the entire stage, right? So some part of it is visible here, right? Notice there's a small glitch here. We can fix this right now, right? So I'll just go and this has to be done a little bit patiently, right? So if I did this, it becomes nice, I think, although it became a little bit big. So you have to zoom out a little bit and fix this, right? So just a little bit of patience and works well. Yeah, and you can extend this a little bit down. Yeah. Okay, so now notice that when I move this to XY340, right? Really what I've done is like having placed this on top, like I showed you in the illustration. I placed it somewhere here in a hypothetical, let's say in an unknown space, but it's right there, right? If it's there, and if I put it at 0, 0, then it comes down to exactly the center. Let's also see what happens when I put this, let's say, at 0, minus 340, right? So what do I expect is really, sorry, minus 340. So I expect that this backdrop will appear as though it has gone somewhere down, right? And the reason it's kind of overlapping a little bit is because, remember, I have made my costume a little bit bigger than this white line here, right? If you made it exactly equal, then also it will overlap, but lesser, right? So I just tried to increase the overlap a little bit so that, I will talk about that. It just avoids the glitching problem a little, somewhat, yeah? So this is the whole idea, right? Now, if I go and place at 0, 0, remember it's the center. If I go and place it at 0, 340, then it's kind of hanging up in the air, right? So it's it's what we were talking about. It's emulating this whole thing, right? So I can now create two clones, right? And I can make them one at 0, 0 and another one at 0, 340, which will become a situation something like this, right? But of course, there'll be a little bit of overlap, and that's needed here, right? So let's just do that now, right? I'll do cloning, right? So I'll say first thing, I'll say when I click the flag, I'm going to hide because that's what I always do when I do cloning, right? Now let's say I'll say go to 0, 340, which means wherever you are right now, right? And I'll say go create a clone of myself, right? So if I create a clone of myself, it creates a working copy of that sprite at 0, 340, right? And next I can go and say go to 0, 0 and create a clone of yourself, right? So basically I go and duplicate this. So I'll go to say 0, 0 and I create a clone of myself, right? So if I did this, obviously this is not complete yet because I have to say when I start as a clone, what do I do? So in this case, let's say I just say when I start as a clone, just show, right? So if I just did this much, right, just this much, you'll notice what will happen is that it will look like I have got my original backdrop. And the reason is because, I have really got two clones there. Both are showing. The guy at 0, 0 is here. There's one more person sitting up there at 0, 340, which is partially overlapping with this, but you cannot see it because this is how the backdrop is. It's very, very continuous in your in the way it is, right? So at this point, I want to highlight one thing. When you make your costume, right, make sure you're giving it no outline because otherwise the outline will show up here, right? So the whole idea is to make it as continuous as possible, right? So no outlines, a simple drawing will actually help, right? Or you can also use, like I said, something like a stars or the boardwalk, which are generally continuous in the direction that you want, right? So that's why it's important. Now this, for example, here will be awkward to scroll it horizontally. So I'm only focusing on continuity in the vertical direction because I'm going to make it scroll only vertically, right? So now I've got this thing and now I can basically start implementing that scheme that I just said, which is, remember, if I've got these two clones, I'm going to make them both move at the same speed, right? So I'm going to make them both move at the same speed. And how do I do that? Well, very simple. I can go and say forever, let's say change y by -5, right? What that would do is, let's say change y by say -5, right? Now why -5? Because, well, in my game, I want this to scroll, because my car is going to give a feeling of moving upwards. So this backdrop must scroll downwards. Right? That's why -5. If you want it to scroll the other way, it will be +5, right? But let's see what happens here. So notice this thing starts to scroll. The first one came, the second one came, and now both of them are sitting down, right? So all I have to do, right? Let's see this again, right? So it looks quite nice. The first one, the second one, we don't realize it's continuous, but the second one also came. But at this point, it's kind of hanging there. All I have to do now is that, go back to this illustration. All I have to do is that it has gone through this process, right? Both of them are, in fact, this went down further, right? So all I have to do is that whenever this guy reaches, let's say, a low level, I can send it back up here, right? And then since this is in a forever loop, this process will just continue and we will have a pretty cool scrolling backdrop available to us, right? So I will, what I will do is that I will add a little bit of code here, right? So I'll use an if loop here, right? And I'll say if y position is less than -140, right? So I'll use an operator here, -340, sorry. So I'll say if y position is less than -340, then what I can do is I can send this clone back to the top, right? So it doesn't matter whether it's clone 1 or clone 2, really doesn't matter because both will have the same behavior. Basically, the roles are getting interchanged, right? So one is playing, one is being upwards, one is being downwards, right? So I will say set y to say 340, right? So if it, and all I'm doing is really to send it back here, right? So it's just setting up that ring in motion. And now you notice that I've got a backdrop which basically nicely scrolls, right? And looks pretty cool because it's just so beautiful to look at, right? It's just scrolling beautifully. It's going down. And what's really going on is that both the clones are acting in tandem with each other. One is going down. The moment it reaches 340, it goes back up on top. And then they both keep coming down. The one that goes below goes back again on top, right? So it's really implementing the scheme that we discussed in that graphic to to implement this. And notice the moment I stop this, right? The moment I stop this, the backdrop disappears, right? That's because it's really not a backdrop. It's really a sprite which is acting like a backdrop. The moment I click stop, both the clones get deleted, right? Now here I'm not deleting these clones because there's only two of them. Obviously, I want the game to sort of continue, and the backdrop to scroll all the time that there is, right? So that's really all there is in this scrolling backdrop. It looks very simple. Let's just recap. We have taken a sprite to act like a backdrop. We have given it a costume which is somewhat continuous. We have created two clones of it and placed them in a way that one covers here, one is sitting somewhere on the top, and then we move both of them together down. And once the one that's reached down is then sent up, and if this continues, it nicely creates a scrolling backdrop. Right now, what you will notice is that sometimes when you scroll, right, especially when you're changing the speed of the car and so on and so forth, you might see a glitch appearing here. Right now, really that happens because so there is really two reasons, right? One is that when the clone that is below, it goes up, right? There is a gap created between the clone that is below and the clone that is up, right? That is one reason. The second reason is that this guy, when basically there's a gap either created here or a gap created here. It just happens the moment we are going back, right? And there is really you could do some adjustments. So one way to fix that would be that whenever you're sending these guys back, right, instead of sending them back to say 340, you could adjust where they are going back. You know where the other clone is, so you have to keep track of both the clones' y position in this case, right? Use some local variables perhaps, because each one has to maintain their own. Keep track of where it is and adjust for that little delta that's going on to avoid the glitch, right? But that's going to complicate matters quite a bit. So a simpler method would be just extend this a little bit, and that's what I've done here, right? So once you extend that, basically it creates the overlap a little bit between them, and hence it creates a situation where there is more leeway for you to not glitch. If you want to really explore this point, right? So I'm not going to go too detailed in this, but if you really, really want to explore this point, what you could think about is, let's say, if I remove the scrolling part and I'll say left it here, instead of 0, 0, if I put this at minus 40, let's say, right? What will happen is that you will notice there's a gap created here, right? So that's what is going on when it's scrolling. If there's a gap created between the two scrolling clones, then a glitch is seen. And like I said, by tracking the individual Ys, you can potentially remove that, but we'll not get into that. I think that's a project in itself. For now, we'll just make it a little bit more resilient by increasing the length of that sprite. Right now, having said that, it's possible that in your game you might see a little bit of glitching. That's all right. Do not worry too much about it. Maybe you can just try reducing the speed or try changing the way the costume is set up, and I think that should be fine for now. Yeah. Now, having done all this, let's move on and create a race car sprite. So what I've done here, I've taken a sprite from the internet and I've cleaned it up because I wanted my race car to look somewhat nice, right? The cleaning process can be a little bit tedious because there's a lot of dots and stuff, so you can use some external editor, maybe like a Photoshop, or you can also use a Scratch editor, but it takes a little bit of time, so I've done this already for you here. What we are going to do is to give it some code so that it moves, right? We are going to give it an accelerator pedal, we are going to give it a brake pedal, and we are also going to give it some code to, let's say, turn left and right? So that's what we're going to do. All right, so what we will do is that we are going to create a few variables and a little bit of control to make this race car move, right? So to start that, I'll say, okay, look, so now we are going to give some code to our race car, right? So what we want really is that when we click the flag, we want it to go to somewhere in the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to say, okay, look, go to, X really doesn't matter here. I'm going to send it to X of minus 35, Y of minus 110, and that's just, we can fine tune that anyway, right? Now I'm going to create 3 variables, right, which are going to, control the movement of this car, right? So I'll say I'll call it say car speed, right? Now I'm going to create another variable here called max speed, right? And I'm going to create one more variable called min speed, right? So what I mean by all this is really that I'm going to control the speed of the car using these variables, right? I want the up arrow to appear like an accelerator, and I want the down arrow to appear like a brake. right? So when I basically what I'll do is that I'll, when the game starts, I'll say set the car speed to 0. The car is at rest, car is not moving. I will set the max speed to 25, right? And I urge you to also limit this, because if the speed is too large, then the game gets quite unplayable, it's quite uncomfortable on the eyes. It doesn't feel nice, right? So I'll limit the max speed to say 25, and I'll also limit the min speed to say something like 1, right? Now, you may wonder, why do I not make min speed to 0? That's really because, in this game, I have other cars which are moving. So if my car has stopped, it's somewhat illogical that other cars are still moving, right? So although in the beginning that happens, but once the game starts, then the car at least moves down to the minimum speed, right? So it's so that it's kind of always moving and you're overtaking other cars, right? So that's the whole idea. Now I'll say forever, right? So obviously I want this to happen forever, right? Remember, I want the up arrow to act like my accelerator. I want the down arrow to act like my brakes, right? So I'll say if, let's say, key up arrow pressed, right? So if key, say, up arrow pressed, if key up arrow pressed, right? I'll say change car speed by, let's say, say 0.1. And then if the car speed becomes more than the max speed, then set the car speed to max speed. So this is going to limit the maximum speed of the car. So if, say, car speed becomes, right, if, so this variable called car speed becomes more than the max speed, right, then what I'll do is to say set the, notice now this is a set, right? So I'm going to say set car speed to the max speed. So what this will do is that this will limit my speed to the maximum speed, and that's the whole intent, right? Like I said, do not keep it too large because the game gets unplayable if that happens, right? So now we can continue and give our car also the ability to brake. And the way I will do that is, well, I'll just duplicate this code and I'll say that, look, instead of up arrow press, if I were to press the down arrow, so then what happens is that, if I were to just basically go and say press the down arrow, right, then I'm going to change the car speed by something like, say, -1. Right now, again, these numbers you can choose to do differently, but the whole idea is that the car speed should come down, and once the car speed becomes less than the minimum speed, right, so I will fix it to the minimum speed. So instead of here car speed greater than max speed, I'll say, in the operators, I'll say car speed less than the min speed, right? So if my car speed becomes less than the, not the max speed, but in fact the min speed, right? So if the car speed becomes less than min speed, then set car speed to the min speed. So this will ensure that my car will have minimum speed is min speed and the maximum speed is max speed. Right now, at this point, some of you might wonder, why did I not put car speed equals to min speed or car speed equals to max speed? Well, the reason is very simple, because sometimes you may, depending on how your speed is increasing, decreasing, you may never exactly hit this number, right? But you may, for example, say the max speed is 25, right? And maybe you are at, let's say, 23 right now, right? And then you have a combination, so it is possible that combination of, say, up and down, and you may end up at 25.1, but you will never hit exactly 25, right? So although in this case probably you will, but it's always a good practice to say this more than the limit that you want, then fix it to the limit. So then you are sure that the moment it goes above this, you are going to fix this, and likewise for the reverse side, right? Now, with this thing in place, right, this is your car speed. I'm going to replace my change y by -5 by change y by car speed, right? So, sorry, I have to do it by negative of car speed. So I'm going to say -1 times the car speed. I use this multiply operator, and I'm going to say -1 times the car speed, right? So what that will do is that now when I turn this game on, okay, so my car has to show, okay, this is something I have to do. So I have to say when the flag is clicked, right, in the race car case, one thing I have to make the car show, right, because I think I've hidden it somewhere. I make the car show. Now I also make it point in the direction 0, right? The reason is because, remember, my car right now is sort of horizontal. We want it to look, right? So I'll go say point in direction 0, and remember 0 because 0 is really upwards, right? So I want to point the car upward direction and show, right? So notice my car is coming there. Now when I press the up arrow, this background starts to scroll, and my speed, as you can see, is kind of increasing right now, goes up to say 24, 25, but after 25 it's stable. And this is nice because beyond this, if the speed goes beyond this, it's kind of strenuous on the eyes and not very nice, right? Now let's say I apply the brakes. If I go to uh, if I have applied the brakes, even so, I will go to a speed of 1, which is actually very slow for this. So I can really now, play with this 2 and create an effect that car is stopping, car is moving, and it's quite nice, right? And this is all I have right now on the car code, right? So now I want to make sure that this car also turns, right? And for that purpose, I'm going to just, so I'm just going to refer to my old game. Remember, when I do this, it kind of creates this nice impression that when I click the left arrow, it turns for a while and then goes back straight again, right? So this is just a visual impression. It looks nice. I could have always just changed the name, just hit the thing, right? But to do that, I like a little bit of code because it's also an opportunity for us to learn some to practice, let's say, some coding style, right? So what I'll do is that I'll just create a separate when flag click loop, right? So I'll say when flag click, again I'm going to put this in a forever because, well, these things have to happen all the time, right? So I'll say if the right arrow is pressed, right? So if the right arrow is pressed, I want the car to move right? So what I'll do is that I will make the car tilt a little bit towards the right and then come back up again the moment I release the right arrow, right? So what I'll say is that, if, let's say, so I go and say if, in the sensing block, I'll go and say if key, say, right arrow is pressed, right? If key right arrow pressed, then I will repeat I'll repeat until, so let me just put this and then I can explain this in a slight detail, right? So I say repeat until not keep right arrow press, which means that, I'll do this until I stop pressing the arrow that I had pressed, right? So I'll duplicate this. So I'll say repeat until not key right arrow pressed, right? And here I'll say point in direction, right? Go to go to this arrow key, so go to the motion and say point in direction. Again, if you're getting confused by this, use this arrow. So I want it to turn right, and I'm going to say, okay, look, it should kind of turn right a little bit. Keep doing that, and I will also make it move along the x level, x axis along the sleeping line. So I'm going to say change x by 10, right? Now, whenever this loop is not in motion, I want the car to appear straight, which means I should say point in direction. I don't want this. I want to say at the end of this loop, which means outside this if statement. Notice this is outside the if statement. I want this car to point in direction 0, right? So now with this, what happens is when I move this car, when I press the right arrow, right? Oh, so I've made a mistake here. I should not be doing set x to 10. There's a common mistake, and I keep telling people not to do it, and I myself did it here, right? It should be change x by 10. And notice what happens is that when I click the right arrow, the car moves to the right side, and it also, while for the time that I'm keeping the right arrow pressed, it also points in direction of 30, right? So the moment I leave the right arrow, it stops pointing in that direction, stops changing by 10, right? And that's really because this repeat until, right? So we are saying repeat until not key right arrow press. So first of all, it's if key right arrow press, then you keep doing this until it's not pressed, right? So this is a very nice usage. It's quite powerful, and hence I thought it's a good way to introduce this, right? And now, having done this, we are going to also repeat this whole thing, duplicate this thing for the, so let me be a little careful here not to this because this part is not needed. I'm going to say when the key left arrow is pressed, right? So this time when the key left arrow is pressed, same thing, repeat until not key left arrow pressed. So that I keep doing this until the left arrow is no longer pressed, right? I'll say point in direction minus 30. So again, you can use this arrow, and minus 30 is here. So it's going to point in the leftward direction. And also I'm going to say change x by minus 10, right? So, and subsequently point in direction 0, right? So with that, so I've got this situation where my car can move left or right, and it's quite nice. And of course, upwards, it can move with an accelerator. The speed goes up to a maximum of 25. It feels pretty good. And then I can brake this car, right, if I want to. And then the car is moving left and right. Car is moving quite nicely. And all I need now is a little bit of code to say that, look, I should not be, like now I'm going on the on this road. I do not want that to happen. So the way I will do it is that, I could use many methods, but the method that I will choose to use is that I will say I'll do a very simple check that, if my X position is becoming less than some number, then I prevent it from going that direction. If it's becoming more than some number, I prevent it from going further, right? That's the whole idea. So I'll say I'll say look forever, right? If, right, basically I can use the car's X positions in the motion. I'll say if X position, so I'll use an operator here. If uh, X position is, let's say, greater than say 120, right? So if it's becoming more than 120, then I'll say set this X position to, so in the motion I can go and say, this time of course I need to use set. So if it's more than 120, I set it to 115, let's say. Again, this doesn't really matter. It's just, approximately there. But the whole idea is I do not want it to go beyond 120, which is the green area in my road. And I can duplicate this part, and I can, I have to be a little bit careful to make sure I use the right operator. So if it's becoming less than minus 120, right, which means it's going too much to the left, I can again fix it back to say minus 115, right? So with this, what happens is that I've got a situation that, my car will no longer go to the extreme left, neither it will go to extreme right, although it will turn, because that's the way I've written the code, right? So it's now nice. I mean, it's kind of staying on the road. It can turn. It feels good when it's turning. When it's turning this way, it also feels good. Now, like I said in the very beginning of this video, do not try this in the real life, because this kind of driving is very risky. We should drive on our lane only. But then this is just a game, and it's just for fun, right? So for us to learn. So let's just recap quickly what we did. We built a scrolling backdrop, right, by using two clones, making them move with a similar speed. We then, and of course sending one clone back. We then built a race car, right? We took a sprite from elsewhere. We, copied that. We basically edited the sprite, and then we gave it code to move. We gave it a code to accelerate, to brake, to turn left, to turn right, and also to limit it from going two extremes, basically on the extreme left or the extreme right, right? So with this, we'll pause this video here. We will break this video here. The next portion, we are going to write more code to, complete this game. Right? Okay. See you in the next video.